How you doing, guys? This is Eric from RuleTheWasteland.com. This is part 2 of an interview I did with David the Good, author of Grow or Die and Compost Everything. If you check the links in the descriptions below, you can go to his books on Amazon, the previous interview, and his website, thesurvivalgardener.com. So enjoy the rest of the interview. Thanks for watching. So what is your favorite thing to grow of all these? Do you prefer the things that take a little bit of tending because you enjoy the gardening, or do you prefer just to set it and forget it, the Ronco style?
I go back and forth. Sometimes I tell people, like, do as I say, don't do as I do, because they're like, how would you prepare for this and that and the other thing? And then they're like,
But
wow,
you do that, yeah.
You're growing a starfruit tree up here? I'm like, yes. How do you grow a starfruit tree? Well, I get about 1 starfruit a year. I keep it in the greenhouse half the year,
Right.
and I have to water it, and I have to prune it, and I have to bend the branches down. So that's just like, you know, extreme level. I just set the gardening level to expert and say, can you do this? You know.
Well, that's a good point though, because you don't have to give up the hobby gardening to have like a food for. You know what I mean? It's not like you're breaking the rules by growing something that's hard to grow. If something serious happened, you'd probably put the starfruit on the back burner.
Right. Yeah. It wouldn't matter that much, right? You know. So my favorite stuff to grow in general though is the sort of thing that makes a ridiculous harvest for a small amount of work, where it's like embarrassing.
Yeah, it seems like a reward. So something like the sweet potatoes probably, because
right,
you just get an embarrassment of potatoes off of no work. I saw your video.
You saw a picture of all those sweet potatoes.
Well, where you were planting them, it's so simple. You just cut them, stuck them in the ground,
People don't realize that you do that. They're like, how do you do that? Are they like a white potato? You know, do you just plant one and then it grows more? I'm like, no, if you got 1 sweet potato, you can start about 30 plants off it.
I've started off cuttings like that before. But just to see how simple it is to stick it in the ground, stick. And yeah,
and then for a week they look terrible. I mean, they all wilt over and you think, oh, it's all dead, and then they all start growing.
Because I've had a patch before and ripped them all up, and little pieces of the vine that were stuck underground that you forget about, they would propagate from that even. And they'd start sprouting up again. It's like almost like a weed around here, so
you can't get rid of them.
Which is good when it's something that you want to. Because you you hear people say that, like when they're growing something that's not from their area and they're picking weeds and fighting to kill one type of plant while struggling to keep the other alive, and it's like, why isn't the ones that we eat the ones that do so well? And well, they are if you're in the right areas.
They are if you're in the right areas. Yeah, but people will tell you, oh, you know, we used to get 1,000 pounds of cabbages, and you're like, yeah. It's nice, you know. But then the Yankee will come down here and they'll plant their cabbages in March,
right?
And they'll bolt and rot.
Yeah, just shoot them.
Like you can't grow those in the summer here. You can grow a giant cabbage up north because you got a long, cool summer.
But they just get
down
roasted.
here, you got to plant the small cabbage. It's got to be appropriate. I grew them in the winter last year. I had the most perfect rows of cabbages in January, February. You know, and that's not even what they recommend. It's just you gotta.
Yeah, we get lucky with the long growing season, but it also is a little brutal for some plants.
Yeah, I'll show you my favorite
yes,
survival.
I've seen this gnarly elephant man looking thing.
This is an African yam, and this is actually only half
African American yam.
Yes, yeah, it's an African American now because they've been in Florida for over 100 years, so they've escaped and naturalized. This break point right here was where there was another piece roughly this size attached, so the entire thing was this big. This took 2 years.
Gnarly looking.
2 years to grow. It tastes.
And about how much hours of work in that 2 years would you say you spent on this 15-20 pounds of food?
I spent 10 seconds planting it.
But and probably an hour digging it up.
An hour digging it up, yeah, exactly. Because it was so big. I'm like, I want to get this whole thing out of the ground without it falling to pieces.
And I've got a little piece over here too that I'm going to take back if you don't mind.
That's
stick in my
the
ground.
Purple one.
Yeah, because if you can see, I don't know if you can see that, but there's a really bright purple.
Let's cut that sucker open so you can actually see what the. This is one of the most beautiful roots on the planet. The other one I was showing you is a white one.
Yeah, look at that.
Isn't that incredible?
Let's see if you guys can see that in case it's shiny, but that's pretty wild, huh? It's like those purple sweet potatoes, but I was told this is not a sweet potato.
Not a sweet potato, not related at all.
Yeah, not really related, but it looks good.
But the inside of these, this has a little different flavor, but this guy, it's like...
So that one's white on the inside?
Very similar to a gigantic Idaho potato.
Okay.
The flavor, you can make mashed potatoes out of it, fries. It actually fries better than potatoes. I made hash browns out of them like day after day after day.
It's not hard to imagine if you had just a few, you know, couple hundred square feet of these plants, you have quite a few big yield.
Yeah, I mean, you could plant the little bulbs, the bulbils that they make these hanging bulbils on the vines. You can plant those things like every 3 feet along the edge of a property and literally have 2,000 pounds of yams there.
Right.
And you can harvest them when you want them. After a year, you know, they're usually about this size or a little smaller at a year. And then the second year they go double, triple, quadruple.
Wow.
And then they get so big you can't hardly pull them up.
Yeah, I don't even want to try and dig them up.
They'll get over 100
And these
pounds.
were so interesting, they actually inspired a yam song. Am I
Yeah,
right?
oh yes, we have.
So if you haven't watched the
has
video, the
happened,
link
yes.
will be in the description. There's a beautiful yam song. So you've already gone pro as an author. Maybe you could go pro as a...
Pro as a YouTuber.
Yeah,
right.
well, as a musician with the yam songs.
It was funny, at one point, you know, when I was younger, I wanted to be a rock star, you know.
Yeah, who doesn't?
I put together, I did multiple albums, I started a little record label.
Oh, so you actually went into it.
We fought for it. And
tried to make it happen?
I realized, you know, the marketing side of things I wasn't all that good at.
Right.
I liked playing, but I didn't play hard enough or consistently enough to really be awesome at it.
Take off.
Yeah.
Well, I like the yam song.
I just bring it in there, gotta bring it in.
Right.